Welcome back to Navigating Carbon, your compass to carbon management. As always, I'm your host, Deb Ryan. And in this episode, I was joined by Katie Mehnert. Katie is the CEO and founder of Ally Energy, which is focused on building a resilient energy future through its workforce. Katie and I discuss how human capital is evolving for the energy transition and how it will shape the future of energy. We also discuss what it actually means to build a resilient career. I have linked Ally Energy's website in the show notes below if you would like to check out any of the upcoming events, as well as any of the other resources that Ally Energy has. If you enjoy our conversation, please make sure you like the episode. And as always, please make sure you subscribe to stay on top of all upcoming episodes. But for now, sit back and enjoy my conversation with Katie. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the next episode of Navigating Carbon. Today I am joined by someone I've known for such a long time, and I'm so happy she's here. Katie Mehnert, how are you? Welcome.
Welcome. Happy New Year.
Yeah, right. We're into 2025. And I'm so excited to be sitting down and having this conversation with you today. So for those that aren't aware, like Ally Energy's been around you've just celebrated your 10-year anniversary. Congratulations, which is amazing. Um, I'm really excited to hear from you, like what you're really proud of over those 10 years, but also where are you going? Like what's coming next for Ally and what are you really excited about?
Well, look, I think, first of all, congratulations on your business because it's so hard to build a business and to do it solo. The first 10 years was solo and I learned a whole lot. And I'm very proud of what we started. We actually started the conversation around the diversity mix of people and the diversity mix of energy that's going to be required to kind of power us into this new future. So if I look back like 10 years ago, I was rambling all over LinkedIn about things that people were like, what is she talking about? And now the world is in this like really beautiful place where we're starting to explore and actually develop, right, new projects, new markets. And so I look at 2025, I'm actually turning 50 this year. So it's like, well,
Congratulations.
thank
Big
you. I'm
things.
like, big things, So I look at that and I go, okay, 10 years in business, 50 years on the planet, and I've never been more energized for the future.
Good for you. And it's so exciting. Like, and in terms of the people aspect of this, where do you see, the energy transition in terms of the people transition and the people needed, for this, again, all energy kind of solution that we're still looking at and still trying to understand?
Deb, I think it's paramount for people because people are the heart of the markets. People are what get things done. I mean, we can talk about AI. I have opinions about that, but like nothing exists without humans. I mean, human capital is the single largest, most important piece. I mean, a lot of the financial guys will say, oh, the money is important. Look, the money is important. The technology is important. The innovation is important, but we don't get any of that without the people, the hearts, and the minds of people. And so I think there's a huge opportunity to create innovation with people at the forefront. We're very good at running after opportunity, particularly in America, doing things to people instead of doing things with people. So I think when you think about, for me, the American dream was always work hard. If we could create something collective around our energy system for America and for the world, that just to me lights me up. That's what gets me excited about the future, and people are at the heart of that.
I really love that framing because I feel like for so many of us, we often feel like we're almost not in control of our careers and some of that kind of stuff. And this idea of working with people, going along that journey with them and building resilience and stuff like that is something that is really kind of at the core of what Ally does. Like, what does resilience mean to you, like, as you think about people?
Look, it's funny, like 7, 8 years ago, we started this thing called the Grit Awards. I know you're very
Hmm.
familiar with it. And it's because I recognize like there's really gritty people. Actually, there are the most grittiest people in the world that work in energy because this is hard stuff. It is hard stuff. And at the end of the day, it's long. It's a long game, right? Energy is a long game. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And so it takes a lot of, a lot of grit. It takes a lot of opportunity to grow yourself. And it's all about tenacity, right? It's all about being persistent. And look, when I think about the guys, because there were lots of them, that built Energy 1.0, the wildcatters of Texas drilling holes in the ground, they were doing that to try and find opportunity, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you hit big, and a lot of times you don't hit big, right? There's a lot of risk, involved, financial risk, obviously environmental risk and safety risk involved in the work we've done. Energy 2.0 is going to be even more supercharged around resilience because we live in a very complex world. Our freaking infrastructure is crumbling. We know this, right? We know that we need more energy, and we needed it like yesterday because of AI. We know our school systems, right, need different ideas, right? The education system, our healthcare system. So all these things are underpinned by energy. It's the heartbeat.
Yeah.
It's the veins. So I get excited because um, it's hard stuff. We do hard things, but it's going to take a ton of resilience. And at Ally, we're building resilience in people, businesses, and communities. And that's what's exciting about the next 10 years.
I really love that. And sometimes these words like resilience and grit and tenacity are often viewed quite negatively, but I think it really is at the core of like how we're going to like create change and how we're going to think about what does the future look like and stuff like that. So I love that you've like embraced the use of some of those words that sometimes get a little bit of a negative connotation. So a little bit with that. One of the things I think is really interesting. So I spend a lot of time talking to students and things, and particularly, a lot of people know I'm a petroleum engineer by background. Petroleum engineering students really trying to figure out how they fit into this new energy mix. If it's not, if when we've still got oil and gas, but there's all these other things, whether it's geothermal and sort of the energy transition. And one of the things that I often tell them, and I think it really sort of is at the heart, and I'd love your kind of thoughts around it, is as an engineer, we're taught how to solve problems. And so, taking those skills and that knowledge of energy systems is so important because we've got some big problems that need to be solved right now, and you alluded to some of them. Can you talk about some of the ways that Ally is going to be looking at helping people? Like you said at the beginning, this isn't about doing things to people, it's doing things for people. Like, how are you looking to set up some of that internal people infrastructure to really help people along this journey?
Well, it's such a great question. And look, this is such a big passion topic. I first started looking at this. I said, we need more women. Yes, we need more women. And then I looked at it and I said, no, we need more workforce of the future. Like, we need to be future proof. We need to take the people and the amazing talents that we have and restructure and retool those for whatever we're building of the future. What is so cool about being an engineer, and by the way, I'm not an engineer by background. I like to think I'm a people engineer, orchestrating people, but building solutions and problem solving is stuff that we will definitely turn to machines to do some of the basic stuff. We still need, the noggin, as my father calls it. We still need the smarts to think about how to build, what we're going to build, and what the possibilities are. And so when I talk to young people and even people like mid-career and even late career, I think people need to break the paradigm of I'm a petroleum engineer and all I can do is petroleum. I'm sorry. That's just a flawed model. And that's why the education system is so screwed up, in my opinion. Because, we're taught, oh, we're going to go and study one thing. But really, in the world of learning, in the world that we're in, that's just not the case. And a lot of people aren't going right to college. They're going in completely different directions. And so we've got it, just like we're redefining kind of the energy system. At the same time, we're also redefining the pathways, right, for education and development. And that's a little unsettling because there's a lot of change, right, happening at the same time. But back to your piece about what can we control? So we control this. And you know what that means. It's how we respond. And what I love about what we're doing with resilience is resilience and adversity is about how you respond to the world,
I like that.
when there is this kind of chaos. So to help build people, first of all, help them understand their ability, around resilience and adversity and grit, but then strengthen that, right? There is a lot we cannot control, but we absolutely control our response. And so when I think about what's core, if we can get to that, there's so much I think we can unlock around these big structural challenges we have. So I tell people who are like, okay, but like, what does this mean for my job? What it means is you need to start focusing on muscling up and how you're going to respond to this change. Because how you respond to this change and how you adapt is whether you're going to survive or thrive.
It's so key because it's something that again, we've known each other a long time. I took a bit of a career pivot about 4 years ago. And so many people reached out to me of like, how did you do that? Because it seemed at the time, it seemed such a strange pivot for folks and stuff like that. And I think your point around like giving people the tools so that the idea of a career pivot or something like that isn't quite so scary, and it isn't quite so, it's not weird, if that makes sense. Like, and that it becomes very normal that we do take different paths and we do think about that underlying skill sets that we have that are transferable and all of that great stuff. Because exactly to your point, we don't know exactly what the future of energy entails and where it's going. And so, but it's still so scary for people. And I think you mentioned not just the students, but the mid and even late career. I think as we get further through our career, it almost becomes even harder for us. Do you find the same thing as you're talking to, mid and late career people as well, that fear is what also keeps people stuck a little bit?
So I find, yes, I find that you've got that, but I also find that that fear fuels, which I think is a really beautiful concept because, when you're, as I call it, fat and happy, when we're all feeling great about ourselves, we're not motivated to do anything different unless, of course, you're self-motivated, right? And so I think it's absolutely a choice. I attribute to the craziness of my upbringing and the craziness of my own journey, to who I've become today. I tell people all the time, career pivots are like getting on a roller coaster, and I've never loved roller coasters, but you do it once and you're like, oh, it wasn't as bad. Now I'm going to do it again. Now I did a roller coaster for 10 years by myself. And what I learned was I needed a co-founder. But I needed to find somebody that wasn't just another body, but like somebody that, that I could go step into the fire together, right? Because we're doing this together. And so I tell people, I'm like, you got to get away from fear as something that holds you back and let it fuel. What are you going to do in life? Because here's the other thing. We are on borrowed time, my friend. Cancer, all kinds of drama in my life, seeing people, killed, die. You start to think about, especially now that I'm 50, right? I'm getting ready to be 50. Just turned 49, so 50 in a year. But what if you didn't have another day? All of a sudden, to me, that's like, okay, I got to get focused on like what work I need to do in this lifetime. And so, I like to tell people, I'm like, sometimes I tell people, go write your eulogy. Because it's a sobering exercise, but it's something I did many years ago before I took the big leap into entrepreneurship. And let me tell you, it was an unsettling experience. But when I said, what do I want people to say when I'm not in that room physically, right? And that's when it got clear. Like, these are the things I really care about. And so I need to stop worrying about the money. I need to stop. Sure, we all have bills, but you know what? Sacrifices are necessary, right, to drive change. And so I think humans just have to embrace fear to fuel them forward, as opposed to like letting it hold them back.
Yeah. I like that framing of it. And again, that concept of what do you want to be remembered for? Like, what is that, and for a lot of us, we've got different things that we're passionate about and that we like to do and some of that kind of stuff. So I really love that. So if everyone's got that one piece of homework, I think about that aspect of that in terms of what do you want to be remembered for? So you talked about, and I know you announced it recently, that you've just joined up with a new co-founder. Tell us a little bit about that and how you guys met and came together and what you're really excited about then.
So Dr. Paul Stoltz is the leading authority on grit and adversity. He has been obsessively studying it for almost 40 years. He's a big brother to me, so he's a little senior to me, but it's exciting about what Paul has built because Paul has studied human suffering. He has studied how humans respond right, to change. And he's found a way to unlock uh, what I call kind of the secret sauce around the human condition. And when you can get into somebody's, into that space, it's a super rewarding place, because that's when you can start unlocking their why and what pathways they can take, right? But it gets back to fear. You got to be totally okay, right, with being able to kind of say, oh, I'm happy to measure this, right? I want to go no. It's like getting on a scale. Like, nobody really wants to get on the scale. I don't know about you. I can't stand getting on the scale.
No,
Like, what woman likes the scale, right?
No.
But if you don't know your numbers, if you don't really know what your benchmark is, you don't know. So he's got assessments, and these assessments really help people get their head around the number. Once you have the number, then he's got programs and tools where we can strengthen that. And I think that's important, because at the end of the day, what we know is absolutely, fundamental. But machines are going to start getting very smart. They already are very smart. At the end of the day, a machine can't be gritty. Okay. That's a human attribute. So I really think, teaming up with him, I'm excited about that. We're also taking a lot of the intellectual property he has, a lot of the ideas that we've had in our community and our, the world that we, speak in around energy, and helping companies to leverage in a platform the ability, right, to help recruit people that they think that, fit the culture, right? So we want to help people find great jobs, meaningful work. We want people to stay in their jobs. Deb, like, nobody stays in jobs anymore, right? Well, it's because they're unhappy. Well, what if we could help them find that happiness? Gosh, that might, put more, trillions of dollars back into the economy. I mean, 70% of the workforce is disengaged. That is because they're not connected, right, to the work they need to do. Paul's theory is, guess what connects us to the work we need to do? Resilience and resilience and adversity, and how we respond to the world. So I'm excited about working with him. It's going to be a lot of fun. We've already gotten a lot of, inquiries. People are excited. And at the end of the month, we're going to get a bunch of people together and talk more in detail about, the work we're doing. But it means a lot to me that Dr. Stoltz has kind of taken me on. We're co-founders, but in so many ways, I mean, I'm getting the opportunity to learn from a real, true expert. So it's exciting.
That is really exciting. And again, really for Ally, that evolution in terms of these sort of themes and stuff that you've always had, like you said, and just really strengthening that. And I love, that piece around being able to really help people transition, right, their own careers to meet the energy transition. I absolutely love that. So you talked a little bit about the fact that you're convening people at the end of the month, but thinking more broadly out to 2025, like, what other events and like what other stuff is on your radar for this year? I know you're always very busy.
You know us, we love throwing parties. Well, convening people is lots of fun. So actually at our website, allienergy.com, you can go to the events page, and we're going to have
I'll
our
include that in the show notes for everyone.
Absolutely. But look, so as a kind of a lineup, so in March, we're going to have an Energy Workforce of the Future event. We do that every year. We will have a grid awards in Best Energy Workplaces, all measured. So we will be putting our people through the test or the assessment. I can't call it a test. He's like, don't call it a test. It's an assessment.
Nobody likes tests. Yeah, exactly.
I don't. Nobody likes tests.
So the
assessment. The assessment. So we're going to have a way to, score and really understand like what people's resilience is. And then and that'll be in October, but early in September, we'll be doing Houston Energy and Climate Week. And this is what was a pet project of mine and Juliana Garazar here in Houston. Years ago, we said New York has Climate Week. There's Energy Week in London. We went around the world and we talked with local stakeholders, and we said, why don't we call it Houston Energy and Climate Week? So it's really bringing together the best of the best and great minds, the community at large. We're really big on trying to get not just the business community, engaged, but, we've got so many different things going on here in Houston. And we're more than just oil and gas and energy. We've got space, we've got medicine, and we've got sports, and we've got entertainment. So we really want to make this thing like the rodeo of climate and energy. So that's going to be,
Very cool.
in September, it'll be the week before Climate Week in New York. And so lots and lots of opportunity. But I got to tell you, there's a lot happening in Texas. Texas likes to win, if you know what I mean. And I'm just starting to feel that cool competitive spirit in the air of let's go take this transition, to the next level. And I'm excited because I think Texas is leading the way already and will continue to lead the way. So if you haven't been to Texas, got to get to Texas.
Everything is bigger in Texas. I can
That's
attest to
right.
that as someone who does spend quite a little time down in
That's
Houston and
right.
other parts of
That's right.
Texas, which is
That's
great.
right. Yeah.
Well, and because you guys had the inaugural Houston Climate and Energy Week last year as well, so this will be the second event, which is awesome. So it's cool to see that
Second, and
momentum.
I'm not sharing it. We've got a new chair. We got new co-chairs. I get to be Emeritus advisor because I
Nice.
just so many other things, happening this year, and so it's just exciting to be able to see this grow and become a sustainable part of the fabric of the community here. So
That's awesome. Well, Katie, thank you so much. This has been such a fun conversation and it's so exciting. I think, how you're thinking about this idea of like resilience as part of like the human capital and not just financial means and some of that kind of stuff. Any final things for everybody before we jump off?
no, hey, look, thanks, Deb, and congratulations on your first year and this new journey for
Thanks.
you. And I can't wait to see the great things that you do. And thanks for having me on your podcast.
Yeah, thanks for joining me. It's always fun. So thanks.
Thank you.